we go. Well, hello, Chloe. Thank you for coming on the show, Entrepreneurs, Business, and Finance. We are
Thanks,
we are
Henry, and thanks for having me. Excited.
we're very happy to have you here. You have Chloe Smith is your last name, and you have started and founded a company called, if I'm pronouncing it right, Mercator AI, and so many people are interested
Mercator
in
AI. Yeah.
Mercator AI. Thank you. So many people are interested in how AI can help them in their businesses, and they're also interested in the entrepreneurial journey. And for construction folks, they're going to be very interested in what you can do for them. So we have a lot of good things to talk about and cover that I think people will be very interested in. How does that sound?
Sounds awesome. Let's get into it.
Okay, so why don't we start with a little bit of an introduction, since you're an expert in AI. I'll call it demystifying AI for business professionals that aren't as familiar with it, and how it could help them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, big topic, but I'll do my my best in a few minutes here. Effectively, if we look at, I mean, the world that we live in today, AI feels really magical. And I think one of the reasons why we talk about demystifying it is so that we can actually think from a perspective of AI, and problem solve from the perspective of AI. And what I mean by that is, if you can understand kind of the core basics of how it works, you're more likely to be able to implement it in ways that are going to help your business or, help your workflow, versus kind of saying, well, maybe we throw AI at it. Being on the other side of that conversation, I've definitely had some executives ask me in my career, well, why don't we just toss AI at it? Well, AI isn't always the problem solver that we think it is. And so what's really helpful in demystifying it is breaking it down to its core. Now, I'm going to oversimplify here, and I think for your viewers that are, also AI experts out there, this is definitely going to be a simplification of what AI is. But at the end of the day, all we're really doing is mass pattern recognition, right? And we're either recognizing patterns in order to predict outcomes, or we're recognizing patterns in order to generate new data, or something new, right? And so you can see that very clearly in the types of AI that exist, that we interact with today. We're doing mass pattern recognition on whether it be numbers or images are whittled down to pixels, or language, which is, pattern recognition on words. And as a result, through those kind of three facets, your machine learning, computer vision, natural language processing, you can either, predict or classify outcomes, or you can generate new content. And that's where we see our ChatGPT show up. That's where we see our mid journeys appear, right? And I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that we live in a world of general AI where, these AIs are going to take over the world because they can infer knowledge, or they can learn something and apply it somewhere else, when in reality, if you ask ChatGPT to do some math for you, it's not great at math, right? It's not generalizable knowledge that it's learned. It's really, it's been able to mass pattern recognize or apply mass pattern recognition to words, and as a result be able to either help you understand, the meaning of those words, or rather generate additional content off its patterns that it knows and recognizes. So hopefully that's a little bit of demystification that helps us to take the magic and make it a little more tangible.
Absolutely terrific. And speaking of tangible, you started this company. You're helping a lot of people. What was your background, and what led you to starting the company?
Well, for your entrepreneurs out there, my path has been quite meandering. So I have a degree in public relations. I ended or came out of university, and university in Canada, probably college university in the States comparable, but started building websites and learning how to code. Then took that into analytics and user behavior tracking, which then kind of turned into um, building analytics departments for different marketing and advertising agencies, which then also bloomed into, data science and data strategy, and ultimately into being a head of innovation. So it's been quite a meandering path to then ultimately jumping and deciding to build my own company.
Well, I think that's where I hear a lot of stories like that. Don't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to do that. There's a learning curve and a meandering to make it all happen. Well, let's talk about then you have this company now. Uh, I know some about it, but why don't you let folks know what exactly you're doing and how you can help and who might be a client?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are effectively AI powered business development, right? Specifically for mid-sized general contractors in the commercial and industrial space. And so what our platform does is it allows our users to come in, identify and at which stage they're most likely to be triggered to sell into. So for example, looking at the path that a tenant improvement might go on, early stage opportunities are so much more viable for us to be able to sell into, because as general contractors, we have the opportunity to influence greatly the return on investment and the outcome of a construction project. And so for our customers to be able to say, I want to get in when the drawings are 25% completed, or I want to get in when my client is buying land, we're able to help them identify those current project stages and in real time deliver them projects that have, the ability to click through. They get them straight to their inbox. They can click through, see all of the project information so far, everybody who's been involved so far, as well as the history of what's happened on that at that location in the past, and additional rich company details about what else are they working on and contact information to get straight in contact. So we've basically taken a process that takes about 6 to 8 weeks to kind of gather information and tidbits of information through golf games and conferences and manual research, all into about 5 minutes of Mercator's found you a project that is viable right now at its perfect stage, for you to come in, build that relationship, and ultimately deliver that value and ideally end up winning that project.
Wow, wow, terrific. And you're not regionally bound. This would be anywhere in North America?
We are actually. So we've developed and grown our product in Canada. We're just now heading to the States. We've opened up our first market here in Austin, and we're currently pre-selling or pre-selling into the other markets. So our customers can pre-order the San Antonio market, Dallas, Houston, for example, and then we're also starting to look outside of the Texas market as well. So today we are live in Austin, but we plan to grow quite rapidly over the course of this year and next.
Got it, got it. So Texas, Austin to start with, and then on to the rest of the country and coming down from Canada. So already a big expansion from
Already
Canada.
stepping into a new market. Yeah.
Yeah, already stepping into the market. Um, and I presume that, this isn't something that would be easy if you're a construction company to try to replicate yourself. This is something that definitely you would want to outsource as opposed to, building internally. I mean, maybe some massive company, but even then, you've got some specialty expertise. This is a niche. Talk a little bit about that. The
Yeah,
benefits of
absolutely. And I
outsourcing.
think on the surface, what we do seems so simple that to think, well, I can replicate that seems kind of like the next step. But one of the major challenges that we face as a company is a lot of the times the fact that a lot of the data that we need to be able to tell the landscape and identify or reveal the ecosystem that's happening in construction whenever we open up a new market, a lot of that data hasn't been built yet. So we have to go ahead and build it. Our data comes from, we work with government, we work with regulatory boards, we will work with additional vendors that we bring in. We create the data ourselves. So that's one of the bigger challenges that we run into is cost effectiveness. I know we chatted about previously kind of the build versus buy conversation. One of the biggest challenges with building this yourself is cost that you incur, the team that you require, not to mention the expertise needed in terms of building these models. Our proprietary project ID is kind of what powers a lot of our platform, and it's very unique to what we've built ourselves and the data strategy we've applied to that. And then not to mention the fact that we have to become different types of companies in order to get certain data sets. So for example, a general contractor can't be a realtor and get some of the data sets that we're able to access. And so as a result, we kind of are helping to bring, a whole world of data together that previously would have been unattainable for an organization to just kind of build this themselves on the side as kind of a value add to their own personal teams. And so we bring economies of scale, we bring access, as well as we bring obviously the underlying intelligence that powers the whole tool.
And by the way, it doesn't seem simple to me, but I wanted to make sure it wasn't, we weren't confusing lead generation with what you're doing, because while you're doing leads, you're also providing an enormous amount of information to get leads that they wouldn't otherwise get. And I understand why you're building Texas first, because you got to build all that data. And it's a massive project, really, from the way I look at it, because there's so much
Well,
construction.
not to mention that every time we move geographies, it looks a little different. So you have to kind of reconcile all that. And as a
Right.
result, that's a lot of what Mercator does, is make sure that we're kind of standardizing all of the data that describes construction across all of the different markets.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your team, or your how you built this up? Uh, did you want to talk a little bit about your team?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we might have some connection issues.
Yeah, we did have a little break there.
Sure. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, today we are primarily a team of developers. So we've got a team of about 15, mixed of data scientists, data engineers, front-end developers. And then we're just now starting to build out kind of our, I guess, softer side of the business. So more of our sales team, our marketing teams, customer success, so on. So very much still in like the journey of development as a seed stage company into kind of our go-to-market chapter.
Right. Well, you are in Calgary now. Is that right? Or are you in Austin at the moment?
I'm actually physically in Austin, Texas today. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's crazy. We don't normally have the internet sort of blips, but you never know, right? When you're on using the internet, sometimes things happen. Uh, I was going to blame it on Canada, but I can't do that. Can't blame it on your lovely country. Uh, so maybe we could wrap up with uh, something that you'd like to share, or something you find inspiring, and also before that, maybe some obstacles that you have overcome. Because just thinking about getting 15 of all those engineers together and working in unison, and that alone seems like a big obstacle you've already overcome, and you're doing more. But I'm sure
Yeah,
there's, as a seed company, there's, you open the door and there you are. So there's a lot to overcome.
absolutely. And I think, I mean, for the entrepreneurs on your who listen to your podcast, I mean, if they're already in the thick of it, they know that it's an absolute roller coaster that we go on. And the goal is to not ride it as hard. It's someone once told me, actually someone told me just a few days ago, I do a lot of peer-to-peer mentorship with other founders, because as a first-time founder, it's always helpful to kind of reach out to founders that are 6 to 9 months ahead of you, as well as work with the ones that are 6 to 9 months behind you. In terms of, stage, you end up learning so much more from the people who are in the thick of it. And for anybody who's, in your audience, by all means, please do reach out. I am a huge proponent of peer-to-peer support. But one of my peers recently told me, it doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. And I feel that to the core these days that it's true. I mean, this is a grueling journey. I think we tend to glamorize being an entrepreneur. And I think some of the bigger challenges come with the fact that, you endeavor at the start of these to go and build software and technology and build something innovative. And you realize very quickly that you're building a people company. This is, more often a people problem than it is a technology problem. And that's probably the biggest challenge. And over the course of growing, from a team of 4, 5 people to a team of 15, we've had to learn a lot about how do we want to be as a culture, how do we operate as remote, how do we bring vulnerability to the organization so that people can do hard things together, and try and do the implausible together. And so I would say that those are probably the bigger challenges that I've faced, is just managing that side of the business and learning how to be a leader in, hard times and be a leader in great times. And as a result, learning from my peers to figure out how they've done it and how they've gone through it.
Well, that is really interesting. Yes, because there's the tech side and there's the people side, and you got to have them both. And obviously, that's always a
Absolutely.
challenge. Um, well, you're in a great market as a fellow Texan. Welcome to Texas. And I wasn't from Texas originally either, so they have a saying here. I'm not from here, but I got here as quick as I could. So, uh,
I feel that through and through. Honestly, I come from the Texas of the North, and I'm absolutely in love with Texas.
well, is there anything you'd like to wrap up on? You've covered a lot, and I think summarized complex issues well. Um,
You. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to just share that, if there's anybody in your audience who's interested in kind of force multiplying themselves with AI, specifically, in the business development realm, reach out. As you can see on my shirt, Mercator.ai is our URL. You can come check out what we're doing and request a demo. We are obviously live in the Austin market. We are pre-selling into, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and would love to meet your audience.
well, thank you very much for coming on. And Chloe Smith, Mercator AI, fantastic business in a growing field that's going to help so many people going forward in the world and right here in Texas. So have a great rest of your day.
Awesome. Thanks, Henry.
Thank you. Goodbye.
See ya.